a world full of cows trying to get you to eat more chicken, there comes one man out to change the world as we know it. And his name is Ray Jones. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble. Well, how was that? I like a good introduction, you know, and like to throw the music up there again too. So it's all good. It's all good. Let's see. I'm just trying to make sure everything's going good because I just recorded an entire show, and there was no sound. Absolutely no sound. So I decided to redo it. And what more could you ask for after you you have one with no sound, you forgot to plug in your mixer and everything, and then you record it again, only to find out that you never hit start recording. So yeah, I did that. I just did that twice in a row. How fun and wonderful is that? That's what I love about doing this. It's fun. I have fun with it. And I can do it over and over and over and over and over and over again until I get it right. Not really. I just kind of fly with it most of the time, but I can't put something out there that doesn't have any sound. And I definitely can't put anything out there. Actually, the whole show was recorded. But actually, the second one I got halfway through only to realize that there was no recording. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not even recording it. So I cut it, so it didn't matter. So I just deleted both of them. So anyways, I don't really have a rhyme or reason for anything I'm doing today, so I just kind of throw it out there. And I was every once in a while I look at different things online, and I look at news type articles. I try not to. The news is so depressing. They lie, the ignorance of it all. They very rarely tell the truth anymore. The news, and I know people out there. Oh, there you go. Oh, you're gonna make fun of people. You're gonna have to sit there and you're gonna make fun of your ready to come in politics. Whatever. Don't really. I mean, seriously. I want to give you an example of what the news is like anymore. And they wonder what's wrong with everybody. I'll tell you what's wrong with everybody. I'm gonna pick on the weather people. I am picking on weather people right now. I was just reading that once again in the Gulf of Mexico there's a cloud. So the news and the weather people, we're not gonna name it. We're gonna give it a number. We're gonna call it 97L. We're gonna call it 97L because we're numbering and lettering every cloud that comes off the coast of Africa and every cloud in the Gulf of Mexico. We're gonna just number every single one of them, and maybe we'll name them. Yeah, we just want to make everybody panic about every cloud. It's all doom, destruction, and death. Right there, lying in the Gulf of Mexico, there's a cloud. And that cloud is 97L. And it may or may not become the storm of the century. It'll probably be the biggest storm of all history. That storm, 97L, is going to become named. We're going to name him Zugarabaska. And Zugarabaska is going to destroy the world. It's going to become the biggest hurricane. It's going to be a super hurricane. It's going to be a category 39. Just under a 40. And it's going to take everything with it. It's going to destroy the planet. It's going to be so powerful, it's taking the moon with it and the sun. Yeah, seriously. That's what it's like. They're trying to get everybody to panic. They want everybody to panic, so they're going to number and name every cloud coming off of Africa. And then they wonder why everybody's sitting at home in Florida. Oh, we got a Category 5 hurricane coming towards us. We'll sit it out. The news blows everything out of proportion. Meanwhile, people have no idea what's going on because the news, the weather people, they blow everything so far out of a proportion. I'm so sick of the weather. I don't even care anymore because it doesn't matter what it is and where you're at anymore. Every rain cloud in the U.S. is all they do is we're going to get an afternoon thunder shower, which we have all over the U.S. all the time. And some of them do develop more than others, and some of them are dangerous. And they we have more people are dying, I think, now than ever before. And we have all this technology with weather to be able to tell how bad it's going to be, and we can predict it much better today than we ever have. And with this technology we have, why have technology when we can just blow everything out of proportion? Every time it rains now, we have severe thunderstorm watch. We have a severe thunderstorm warning. Then we have tornado warnings. Then we have hail gust warnings and snowstorm warnings and all these warnings. They put out all these warnings, and all it does is rain. It's just an afternoon thunder shower, but yeah, let's put out 3,000 different warnings, flood warnings, and hurricane warnings, and tornado warnings, and earthquake warnings, and butterfly warnings, and dog poop warnings. We got to put all these warnings out every time it rains. We got to put all these. Oh wait, it's going to snow. Oh no, it's a snow event. It's the event of a lifetime. The snow is going to be so deep, we're all going to die in the snow. It's like, give me a break. And then when they have hurricane warnings, they're putting it out there. What do you expect people? Because you all you do is cry wolf. Do you remember the story about the boy that cried wolf? Do you? You need to, you need to read that book because it's ridiculous. It really, really is ridiculous. Every time we don't even look at it seriously anymore. We really don't. We just, whatever. Meanwhile, hundreds of people are dying because everything's a warning. Everything's a watch. Oh my gosh, we put out, well, we got to do it because back in the 80s, somebody sued us because we had tornado sirens and they couldn't hear the tornado sirens over the tornado. So we got sued because people are stupid. Seriously, that's what it is. People rely, tornado warnings, it's thunder and lightning. You can't hear it yourself, but yet you're going to hear a siren over there. I don't know. Now they put all these warnings on your phone, but if you don't happen to get the warning, we're going to sue everybody. People are ridiculous for suing over everything. It's ridiculous that because if it rains, you should always be thinking about, hey, it could be worse, it could do more. Yeah, I understand we need to look at stuff, but it's getting out of hand. I remember back in the years ago when they would actually watch the storms that were developing and watch them over in the Gulf of Mexico and watch them coming across the ocean there from Africa, and when they actually developed into something, then they say, hey, we have an official storm and we're watching it now and it looks like it could possibly get bigger. Nowadays, I'm telling you, they name every single cloud coming off of Africa is being numbered. It's being labeled. They've already got names picked out for them, and half the time they name it. How many times have been through the alphabet this year? 4? I mean, seriously, they keep naming everything, and then now, we got to stop naming all the storms. Well, let's start numbering everything. We're on 97L, and they started at 0A. And it was 1A, 2A, 3A. I guess they go up to 100A, and then they start at B. I'm serious. That seems like that we're on 97L, so we've already had, thousands of clouds we've been watching because they may or may not expand into something. Oh my gosh, hurry, we gotta run. It's everything. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. Weather people, stop it. Stop getting your panties in a bunch. Stop naming every cloud. Start watching the weather and warn us when we need to be warned. Nobody takes you serious anymore. Because every time it storms, there's nothing but warnings and nothing's going on. It's like we have a tornado warning. It's not even looking outside. Is it even sprinkling? The sun's out. What's going on? Why do we have a tornado warning? Well, the National Weather Service spotted a cloud in the middle of the ocean. Everybody in the U.S. needs to take cover immediately because you're all going to die because this cloud is a supersonic hurricane cloud. That's what seriously. It's nuts. It is insane. And it's getting old. So we need to stop this. Stop this all. And we're talking about weather apparently today. So meanwhile, people in Florida, one of the things that people in Florida say that just it bothers me a lot, and really honestly, I think there's only one place in the United States of America where you can actually say this and get away with it. In Florida is not one of those places where you can say this. What am I talking about? Florida is not a place where you say, "Oh, you don't like the weather? Wait a second, it'll change. Wait 5 minutes, it'll be different. You don't like the weather in Florida? Wait 10 minutes, it'll change." No, it doesn't. I can tell you right now, I'm going to predict the weather. I am an official weatherman right now. I'm a weather person. My green board's behind me. Look at this. It's going to rain here. No. June, July, August, September, October, November. Those months are hurricane season. A hurricane may or may not develop during those months because that's the highest potential of having a hurricane because the water temperatures are at their highest at that point in time. Meanwhile, June, July, August, September, it is going to be 95 to 97 degrees every single day with a 50% chance of rain somewhere in the state. More than likely, it will rain for about 5 or 10 minutes somewhere where you're at, and it'll be done. The rest of the year, it's going to be right around 80, 85, and beautiful, mild weather, slight chance of rain. And if there's any other activities, we'll let you know. That's the weather in Florida. Yeah, we get rain, we get stuff like that, but we have a rainy season. But our rainy season is June, July, August, September. And sometimes it does go further. Sometimes it starts earlier. But that's those months there. It's typically 97 degrees every day, sunny, beautiful, and it rains for 5 minutes somewhere. It's not an all-day rain event. It just pours down rain like you've never seen it pour before in 5 minutes, and then it's over. So that's the Florida weather. Now, the only place I've ever been where you can actually say, and I think the only place in the United States of America, I can't talk for the world, but I will say in the United States of America, I think the hardest place it is to be a weather person is Cincinnati, Ohio. Cincinnati, Ohio area, I'm talking Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, Indiana, it's a tri-state area right there. Their weather there is crazy. It is to me, I lived there for several years and they got crazy weather. In Cincinnati, it will be snowing, 6 inches of snow on the ground, and 30 degrees. You go a mile across over to the other side of the river in Kentucky, it'll be 60 degrees and sunny. And there's a huge difference. You literally can say in the Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky area, you can literally say there, you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes, it'll change. Because it will. It can change like you wouldn't believe.
once when I was a teenager, I was in high school. I got up for school and went to school. It was 90 degrees outside at 8 o'clock in the morning. At 12:30, that few hours later, from 8 to 12:30, 4.5 hours later, we were getting dismissed from school because it was 36 degrees and sleeting, icing everywhere. There was ice everywhere, so we were getting out of school early. That literally is changing, and I can tell you many, many times going out riding on my motorcycle, I'd leave in the morning dressed up. By that afternoon, it was like you were either putting more clothes on or taking some off because it was either so cold or so hot. It would literally change, and depends on where you're going, where you're at. That northern Kentucky area, I hated the weather there because you didn't know what to dress for, because it could literally be 90 degrees or 30 degrees in a couple hours, and you didn't know what it was going to do. Most of the time, yeah, during the summertime, it was nice and everything, but you never knew, especially when spring and summer or spring and fall come. Holy cow, you never know what it was going to do. And then, of course, like I said, that river was just crazy, because the river, it would be completely different on the opposite sides of the river. And then you could be in northern Kentucky and then drive to Lexington, and the weather, the temperature would change 40 degrees. It was that drastic. I've seen it several times. It was just crazy. You never know what is going to happen there. So out of the United States of America, the only place that I will give you that it is hard to predict the weather is Cincinnati, northern Kentucky. You weather people, if you get it right, you're doing great. You're awesome. But the rest of the country, you suck. Yeah, I said it. It just, everything's a warning. Everything's drastic. You're freaking out. Everything, you don't know. Cincinnati, they're like, man, we don't know what's going to happen. What's going to do? It's not raining here, everything looks good. Everything's good. It's just a little rainstorm. Meanwhile, there's tornadoes touching down. It's crazy. Yeah, but everywhere else, they got 800, warnings going out because oh my gosh, it's raining. We better put out 1 million warnings to freak everybody out. Make them just, and everybody in the U.S. is doing the same thing. They're all doing, very few people are afraid of storms anymore. That's why everybody's getting killed. Wait a minute, maybe that's your agenda, to get everybody killed by storms and all these events that's going on. Because you make everything a big deal. So people don't take, they don't take heed to it. They're like, whatever, just another rainstorm, whatever. So, they're another hurricane that they're blowing completely out of proportion. Everybody I know, when you go online, everybody's saying the same thing. So I will say this, because if you really want to know about the weather and if you should be concerned about the weather, our rule of thumb in Florida, we live in the Clearwater, Florida area. Our rule of thumb is, if you want to know how bad a storm is, call Waffle House. If Waffle House closes, to get the heck out of there. Because if they close, it's bad. So, and I think Waffle House, they have like some special weather radar that they have of their own, and they know, because they don't close. They were several hurricanes that they never closed, and then we had Irma. They closed for Irma, and then they didn't close, and then I know for Helena, that's the name of the last one here. They closed for that one. So it was like, hey, wait a minute, what do they know? Maybe Waffle House needs to take over the weather station, because they seem to know something that nobody else does. So maybe they just got good instincts. I don't know. But if it wasn't, Waffle House probably saves more lives than the Weather Channel does, because they, and then on top of it, let's look at this. Let's look at this in reality. Okay, let's look at reality for a second, because we all need a reality check. Sometimes we need a reality check. So, the thing is, with let's take the Weather Channel. Okay, we have a category 38 tropical storm, hurricane, typhoon. Let's make it sound as bad as possible. The storm of the century is coming. It's got a 5,000 foot storm surge. It's going to wipe out the whole U.S., but Florida's just going to be missing when it's done. It's going to wipe out the entire Florida. There's not even going to be sand left when they're done. So it's the storm. They're warning, telling them, get out, get out, get out. You're all going to die. You're all going to die. But yet you get on the freeway and you're heading north and all you see is those weather vans going by. You'll pass all those weather people. They're all flocking to Florida. Okay, you're telling me I need to get out, but yet you're flocking to Florida so you can be in the middle of the death, doom, and destruction. So, what makes you so special? Are you not, you're exempt from being hit by a storm? You're going to be safe because your skin is thicker than anybody else's, and you'll penetrate you'll keep anything from penetrating your body. Rain, sleet, hailstorm, a 2x4 coming at you at 300 miles an hour will not affect you because your supernatural abilities, because you're a weather person. You flock to Florida, but you're telling everybody to leave. Does that make any sense? It doesn't. It's ignorant. It's stupid. It's dumb. But yet I can't remember the one guy's name, but you'll see him every time there's a hurricane. He's the first one there. Hey, I'm here in Florida. Look at me. I'm ready to die. So, it doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. So you're telling me to leave, but yet you're here. You're showing up so you can be right in the middle of the death, doom, and destruction. When a building collapses on you, we're supposed to say, oh no, he died. Oh no, she died. What shall we do? Oh. No, everybody's going to say, what an idiot. What an ignorant idiot. You're telling us to leave, but yet you're flocking in there. So, seriously, man. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's like I don't have words for it. I don't have words. I'm just in awe. I'm like, what the, you gotta be creative, seriously? We're all laughing at you. And meanwhile, one kid's sitting there going, what's wrong with you? What are you, stupid? So, yeah, you are. So I'm not trying to be mean to you or anything, weather people, but, seriously. I mean, really, honestly, you blow everything out of proportion. News. I hate watching the news because they blow everything out of proportion too. Every spring in Florida, you turn on the news, and what do you hear? Besides they start naming all the clouds. The next thing you hear is, everybody must stay inside because there's a new killer mosquito. This mosquito's carrying a disease so bad, it's going to wipe out the planet. This mosquito, its larvae will eat you alive. It will suck the blood from your body, suck your body dry in 3 seconds. After it does that, it's going to lay eggs in your brain. And its larvae is going to grow to enormous sizes, about the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. And then, and only then, you're going to get a crazy disease like the mosquito disease. It's much worse than the bird disease and the flu, and even worse than COVID. This is the mosquito disease. It's going to kill everybody. Yeah, every year we get a new mosquito disease that is going to kill everybody in the state. Everybody take caution. Oh, wait, don't forget about the killer sharks. Sharks are killing everybody for no apparent reason. It's like Jaws on drugs. This is crazy. Meanwhile, all the shark attacks you hear about are all the people that are out there feeding the sharks, They're chumming the water as they're in it so they can attract the sharks so they can get the best picture possible. That's like, hey, let's bloody up the water, attract a whole bunch of sharks, then we'll jump in and take some really cool pictures. Yeah, you deserve to be bit. You deserve to be eaten. You really do. It helps out the rest of us for getting, weeding out the stupid people. Sharks help us. Anyways, don't forget, on top of that, the alligators, for your information, if you're going to Florida, I'm going to give you the best information you will ever know in your life about alligators, sharks. Okay. First off, the Gulf of Mexico and all salt water surrounding the state of Florida, all of it has sharks in it. It is shark infested waters. Okay. Hundreds of species of sharks live in the waters around the state of Florida. The Gulf of Mexico is home to hundreds of species of sharks, lots of sharks, including, you ready for it? The great white shark. Yeah, every year they make a big deal about the great white sharks. Every year for probably throughout history, for many moons. Every year, the great white sharks swim up into the Gulf of Mexico. The great white sharks swim up in the Gulf of Mexico, and they like Pine Island up in the Gulf of Mexico. That's just north, I believe, of the Tampa Bay area, Clearwater area. But it's called Pine Island, and they go up there and give birth to their young. The great white sharks. They get lots of great white sharks in that area. Every year we have great white shark sightings, blah, 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 because the great white sharks come through. A lot of sharks actually migrate south for the winter, because up in the New York and all that area up there, way up in that part of the ocean, it gets cold. So the sharks move down into the warmer waters down in the Caribbean, I can't say that either, down in the Caribbean and into the Gulf of Mexico where the water's warmer for the wintertime. So we get lots of sharks that migrate down. Every fall, we have the great migration of the black-tip sharks. Thousands of black-tip sharks go south for the winter. This is nothing new. Also, in the Gulf of Mexico, we have now 25 species of whale in the Gulf of Mexico. Nothing new. They've been coming there. They live there. That is their orcas are in the Gulf of Mexico. I believe, oh my gosh, you got the sperm whale, the humpback whale, several whales, all kinds, there's several, 25 species. Look it up, Google it. It will tell you of all the whales that make homes or they migrate to that particular area. But it's to see them, they mainly stay into the deeper water in the Gulf of Mexico. So to see them closer to shores, not really likely, but unless it's really deep water. And of course, too, during in the springtime, right around May, the bull sharks come in, and that's the number one shark that people get bit by. But they come into the shallower waters to give birth to their young, and they're known. You'll see them in the intercoastal waterways and along the beaches. So it's nothing new. There's more sharks on the beaches than there are people. I can promise you that. I've seen and watched the sharks swimming in and out of the people, and nobody has even a clue that they're even there. And it's just something that happens. Now, let's focus our attention on alligators. Alligators are all over the state of Florida. The rule of thumb is, if there is water, there is probably an alligator in it. So if there's a puddle in a parking lot, the chances are there's an alligator in it. Speaking of which, if it should still be out there, go ahead and Google alligator in a puddle in a parking lot, Home Depot, Bradenton, Florida, Sarasota, Florida, and you'll get the story of an alligator that was living in a Home Depot parking lot in the Bradenton area, Sarasota, Bradenton area, and they finally they removed it, and then they had to remove it again. Finally, they filled in the hole, and the alligator didn't come back. But there was an alligator in a puddle in a parking lot at the Home Depot in Bradenton, Florida. I seen it, saw it with my own eyes. I got pictures of it somewhere. But the thing is, it was there, and that's what people, if there's water, there's an alligator. Just automatically know. Don't let your kids go in the fresh water. Don't let them play in the ponds. Don't let your dogs play in the pond. Throw your cats in there. Make sure there's no alligators around. Wait, I can't just... Did you just say that about cats? Oh, I just can't believe you just said that about cats. We love cats. I do too. I like feeding them to the alligators. I don't. Come on, stop. Anyways, am I joking? I don't know. I guess we'll never know. Anyways, like I said, don't let your kids play in the water. Don't get in a pond, a lake. And, if it's fresh water, there's alligators everywhere. I can promise you, you will see an alligator. So here's a fun fact. Roughly every year, one person dies from a shark bite. I don't say shark attack because sharks don't attack you. You're in their home and you're the one that's like in the wrong. So for being in their home, now I'm not saying don't go swim in the ocean. I'm just saying you're in the ocean. That's their home. They're not attacking you. You're food. So that's what it is. If they're hungry enough, they'll eat you. Or they're like, hey, look at that. That looks pretty tasty. But anyways, roughly worldwide, every year, one person dies from a shark. That's on average. Roughly every year, one person dies from an alligator, being, bitten by an alligator. But here's the crazy fact. 3 people die every year from being hit in the head by a coconut. So you're 3 times more likely to die from a coconut than you are an alligator or a shark. There you have it. So something to think about. Remember that, because coconuts are more dangerous, because you're not looking up, waiting for them, hey, where, they fall out of trees and smack you in the head. And so I had a guy argue that point with me one time because he's like, well, there's not coconuts all over the world. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point because, there's not alligators and sharks all over the world either. There you go. Aren't you a smart one? Yeah. Anyways, you can't argue with stupid people. But yeah, that was his, there's no coconuts in Ohio. Well, actually there are coconuts. They're at all the stores. So yeah, and there's a lot more coconuts in Ohio because they're at the stores than there are sharks. There's not sharks at all the stores. Now they do have them at the Newport Aquarium or the some of the aquariums there, and you can even buy them sometimes, small sharks to put in your own aquarium. Alligators and at the zoos. Can't forget, at the zoos there's plenty of there's sharks at the zoo. And there's always alligators at the zoo. All the zoos have alligators, so there's a lot of alligators. There's a lot of alligators out there, especially wild ones. They're all over the place. They're everywhere in Florida. See them all the time. Almost daily. I mean, we see them all the time. I see a lot of sharks too. I see a lot of sharks, especially when I go fishing for them. I always catch sharks. There's a lot of them. And when we chum up the water, when we're out there in a boat, holy cow! You see nothing but sharks. I swear, sometimes there's hundreds of sharks just swimming around the boat. It's insane, but it's a good time. Just don't fall in the water. So, and actually, if you do fall in the water, a friend of mine did go in the water once, fell, and nothing happened to him. I just pulled him out, and he was okay. The shark kind of like, hey, wait a minute, that guy's crazy. So he's here to beat us up. Anyways, but yeah, it's the news and everything, everybody throws everything so out of proportion. Everybody's scared to death that, I hear so many people say, well, I'm afraid to come to Florida because the alligators. I'm afraid of the sharks. I can't get in the water because the sharks. You have a lot more to die from in Ohio than you do Florida. Trust me. And there's mosquitoes everywhere. Michigan has just as bad as mosquitoes as Florida, But we always, I think they're just trying to scare all the tourists off or something. I don't know what the deal is. They're just, oh my gosh, we have to make a big deal about everything every year. So it's kind of crazy. So it's aggravating, especially for Floridians. So all I'm saying is, if you decide to visit Florida, don't be afraid. Come on down. So go swimming, have fun, go fishing, have fun. Don't get hit in the head by a coconut. Be careful. Those things are dangerous. Coconuts are dangerous. So just that's one thing to take, keep in consideration. And hurricanes. It's funny because a friend of mine told me once, he's like, well, I don't want to come to Florida because you guys have hurricanes. Unfortunately, like I said, they do blow everything out of proportion and they try to make everybody panic. So, as many times as they sit there and talk about, all this stuff, he, because of hurricanes, he wouldn't come to Florida. And he cried about the heat too. Funny part was, in Florida, where I was, beautiful blue skies, nothing to worry about, and 95 degrees. Yeah, it was hot. Meanwhile, in northern Kentucky, where he was living, was 102 degrees, higher humidity, and then there was several tornadoes. Northern Kentucky and Kentucky has actually had more damage in the last 15 years that I can remember than what we had in Florida in my area. I know so many people that's lost their homes and lost everything, and people have been killed. And Northern Kentucky doesn't even look the same that it did 15 years ago because of all the tornadoes that have come through there and all the bad storms. So to me, I feel much safer in Florida. Mainly, this is probably not the thing to say, but I'm saying it. I feel safer in Florida because in Florida, they build houses to withstand 300-mile-an-hour winds. All the houses are made out of, 15 inches of concrete. We have steel beams running through them. We have concrete. We have blocks. They're built to withstand hurricanes. We have hurricane-proof windows, 200-mile-an-hour window, Meanwhile, in northern Kentucky and pretty much the rest of the United States, you guys live in stick-built homes. Have you ever heard of the story or read the story, The Three Little Pigs? One pig made his house out of straw. The other one built his out of sticks, and the other one built his out of concrete. Well, look whose house never got blown down from the big bad wolf. I think there's a lot to be said there. So, because I would rather, we get bad storms, but they withstand. They're built to withstand this. Now, they're not, things happen, but you think of all the storms. The house we were living in was built in 1957. It's been standing since 1957. Do you know how many hurricanes and tropical storms that the house has been through? Meanwhile, in places like Kentucky and Ohio and in all these other places across the country where they have stick-built houses, those houses have been rebuilt several times. They're not built to withstand tornadoes. Florida houses are. Nobody else is building houses like that. It's like all these places across, we have standards, and we have, they make say, hey, this is going to be the problem. True story. Probably shouldn't tell you this story, but I'm telling you. I was building a Carrabba's restaurant in Cincinnati, and when we were building the Carrabba's, the state inspector came in to inspect the building, and the state inspector looked at it. So when they were building the Carrabba's in Cincinnati, they were building it to Florida standards because Carrabba's is built their main headquarters, and they started in Florida. So when they built the first Carrabba's, it was built to withstand 300-mile-an-hour winds. It was built to stay standing in case of a hurricane. Meanwhile, in Cincinnati, Ohio, we're building a Carrabba's, and as we're building this Carrabba's, the inspector came in and said, these aren't Cincinnati standards, these are Florida standards. And of course they said, yeah, that's correct, that's how we build all of them. And they said, well, we can't do this, build them this way. We have to build them with sticks. You can't build these buildings with steel beams and concrete and block the way you're building it. So we were standing there going, oh, this don't make any sense. And so I remember the supervisor on the job said, well, looked at this guy and said, well, if there was a tornado, this building would withstand the winds, and it's able to withstand 300-mile-an-hour winds. That's what it's built to withstand. It would basically kind of be a shelter. And the inspector guy looked straight at him and said, that's the problem. If everything else gets destroyed, this building needs to be destroyed too, because then they would have to have everything else at a higher standard. I'm sorry, Cincinnati, for blowing that out, blowing the whistle, whatever you want to say, but that is crazy. But that's the world we live in. If one gets destroyed, we got to have them all. Everything's got to be destroyed. If you have one good building and that withstands everything else, if that withstands and that's better than the other buildings, we don't want that to happen. We want to make sure all the buildings are destroyed. I mean, seriously. But that's the truth all over that's the truth everywhere. That's how that's their standards. Doesn't matter if you're building it better than anybody else. Another example, down in St. Petersburg, Florida, St. Pete Beach area, a guy there, I forget his name, he built a house, solid steel house. I don't remember the thickness of the steel, but the house was solid steel. And he built this house, and basically after he built it, they stepped in and said, no, you can't do this. It's got to go. Same thing. They didn't want that. Now the standards are way up here. We need the standards to be down here. So we don't want this house, this is going to withstand anything that you throw at it. Anything that you throw at this house, the way it was designed and built, it's going to withstand anything. It'd be there after a nuclear war, and floods, everything else. It was going to be that house wasn't going anywhere the way it was built. It was a permanent part of the foundation of the world. It's going to be standing in a million years, So, but yeah, so it's kind of crazy because of the way things are. It's like, hey, let's build it better. Why would we want to do that? Yeah. Yeah, go figure. Why would you want to do that? So anyways, I guess that's my rant. I had a rant about weather because, it is ridiculous because people are just, so much, and, they freak out about everything, and people's got enough problems. They cry about everything to begin with, and then they gotta be like, oh my gosh, we're going to die from a snowflake. A snowflake's falling. So, oh wait, it's going to flurry. We better cancel everything because we're going to have it's going to be a snow event. It's going to be the event of a lifetime. It is going to flurry. So we need to close everything down. Anyways, that made me cough. Goodness. Excuse me a second. Anyways, drinking my Kool-Aid. Don't drink the Kool-Aid because it's mine. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you like it. I hope you share it. Tell your friends, your family, your coworkers, your enemies. Tell everybody to listen, watch, pay attention, check it out. And I'm going to talk about all kinds of weird stuff. You got something you want to hear me talk about, to go on about, to rant and rave about, let me know. Leave a comment. Leave a like. Leave something. I'm going to be asking for some donations. That's what we do. Everybody asks for donations. This is pretty much all I'm doing right now, is podcasting and such. But I got some things that I do. I'm actually looking to get some donations together. I have a gentleman in Pakistan that they're needing some Bibles. They want Bibles, so I want to be able to send them some Bibles if I can. So they're not asking for money; they're asking for Bibles, and I'll be, I don't mind, helping somebody out, but definitely when they're asking for Bibles, I'd like to be able to get together some Bibles to send to them. It's a certain language, but it's the basically Holy Bible, Word of God that they're looking to do, but it's in their particular language. So that's one of the things I'm looking for to get, do for with the donations. So to keep my thing going, my program going, however you want to look at it, I'm just trying to, that's what I would be doing. So just with everything, I'd appreciate it. I'll be putting that out there, so be looking for it, to be able to, so you can go on and be able to donate if you like to, because I would really appreciate it. Enough about that. So I'd like to just to make sure everybody, if you're pray. We need to pray for our government. We need to pray for all these people in the government. We need to pray for our police officers. Pray for your family. Pray for my family. Pray for, your friends. Pray for our schools, our city council. We need to pray for our police officers, our firefighters, and before, I'm going to go ahead and I'd like to say a prayer today, right now, on just, I don't know your beliefs, but I just like to say, hey, I'm a Christian man, and Jesus died on the cross for my sins and yours, and you can be forgiven just like I was, and he will forgive you, but it's up to you. Well, God will choose you if he wants, and let you know. He'll still put that on your heart. However you want to say that. So I know I'm not good. So I'm not a pastor. I'm not a preacher. I'm a speaker. I'm a talker. That's what I am. I'm not out here to preach to you. I don't know the Bible like I should, like I want to, but I'm studying the Bible a lot, and I wish I knew a lot more about it. I do have my points and my views. They don't always match up with everybody else's, but I try to learn a lot. I do a lot through John MacArthur's studies. Highly recommend the John MacArthur Bible. Highly recommend watching his, the church on TV, and his preaching is, it's not about religion. It's about your relationship with God and the Word of God. It's 100% what you need, not religion. Stay away from religion and focus on the Word of God. So with that said, I'm going to say a quick prayer and before I end the show. So you can bow your head with me and pray with me, and I will pray for you. So, dear Heavenly Father in heaven, I come to you this evening while I'm doing this show, and I ask you to be with our current president, Joe Biden. I feel he needs much prayers. I know his health is not right. I know his mind might not be right. And we just need to pray for him, and pray that he seeks you out, Lord, and that he can be a changed man, Lord, and he can be forgiven. We also pray for Donald Trump, and we pray also for Kamala Harris, Lord. Pray that they also find you and know you, and to be able to have a relationship with you as well, and they can, anybody can change their ways, Lord. We ask that, that you be with them as this election starts and goes forward, and the right thing be done, and the Christians come out and definitely be voting for the person they should be voting for, and not voting against you. And God, I pray for the policemen and the firefighters, the nurses and the doctors that are out there doing their job, and these people that are putting their life on the line. And we pray for them, that I ask you to keep them safe, be with them and their families. Lord, anybody listening to this podcast or anybody that's watching this, I ask you to be with them. I ask you to be part of their life. I ask you to be with their, them health-wise, and be with their loved ones and their family and their friends, Lord. Answer any of their prayers that they may have that for health and vision of knowing the right things and seeing the right things, Lord. And we ask you to be with the pastors out there in this world, and that they do the right thing, that they follow your word and not go against your word, Lord. That's an important thing. And we pray that you be with us all, Lord, as this time comes of a new election, that everything goes smoothly and everything goes well. In God's name we pray, amen. I thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And we will see you soon. And the next time with the next podcast. Thank you.